Hey YouTube, what's up? I'm finally sitting down to film a little bit of an explanation of all the footage I'm about to show you, which is from my trip to the Dominican Republic when myself and my brother and my dad finally all got down there to see this chocolate farm that my dad got. Now, I'm going to be showing you a lot of clips, and I want to apologize in advance because my normal video editing program, I used to just use Windows Movie Maker. Got a new computer because my other one died. And Windows 10 does not have Windows Movie Maker on it, and whatever is on Windows already was not compatible with these videos that I've been taking on my phone. So forgive me, I have a new program and I don't actually know how to use it all that great. So I'm going to be clipping things together, but it's not going to be as stylized as perhaps I wanted it to be. So apologies for that. If you're still into seeing the footage, cool, because I do have a lot of cool stuff to show you. So yeah, essentially, this was last year sometime. My dad goes to the Dominican a lot more than I do. He does work for a missionary type thing down there. The missionary group is called MGM, Meeting God in Missions, and not only, he goes down with that group for probably about a month out of the year. Then he also started his own gardening ministry down there. And that's it's sort of attached but sort of separate, excuse me, from MGM. And there's this guy, Betemy, that works for the gardening ministry down there. That's something my dad funds himself. Him and this woman, Karen, do it. And they're basically just putting in gardens all throughout the Dominican Republic in these villages so people can grow their own food. They're teaching them how to propagate the seeds to continue to have crops and that sort of thing. And like, he brought down a bunch of winter squash, which they'd never really seen before, so I had to show them how to cook it so they can eat that. And so that's essentially how my dad came about being down in the Dominican a lot. And that's also how he met Betemy. So my dad ends up coming across this small property. Now, let me go back a little bit. When I went down in the Dominican several years ago, I went down and instantly thought, like, I want property here. This place is amazing. I want to just chill on a mountaintop in a little house and just not fuck with anybody down here. Like, that's what I'm trying to do, is just have a nice little chill spot in this country. So I had always been really drawn to owning property down there. The exchange rate helps out a lot too. My dad kind of had a similar sort of thought, but I mean, neither of us were actually like actively pursuing this. If you know me, you know that I'm fucking broke, so I don't have money to be spending on property. My dad, though, is retired, and he's just doing his thing. He comes across this property. It's about 40 acres, 40 Dominican acres. I can't tell you how large that actually is in square feet or anything like that. Excuse me again. Good Lord, Annie, get it together. Comes across this small 40-acre property. Dude wants like $2,000 for it. There's a small structure on the property that was just really some like sheets that were hanging over an area, and that was where this dude lives. So my dad was like, yeah, let's do this. Gives the guy $2,000. Dude is so excited. I think he lives in Santo Domingo now, the capital. And we now have this property. We call the little house on it, we call that La Casa de Chocolate. That got knocked down when the hurricanes were coming through that area last fall. And they did rebuild a little structure there, but they've even since I've been down, they're building a brand new structure there. This is where, okay, let me backtrack again. Should have planned this out a little better, what I was gonna say. My dad buys this property. It is not under his name though. It is split equal ways between myself, my brother Mick, and my new brother, Betemy. Because Betemy's Dominican and Haitian. He lives in the Dominican, so he's gonna be the one taking care of this property, essentially. We all talked about it and we're like, okay, let's do this. So he did it. He got the property. The guy then who used to own that land off to Santo Domingo. And on this property, it's on the top of a mountain in Yerba Buena. And oh my God, let me tell you, it is beautiful. It's beautiful. You're almost at the very tip top of the entire island. And it's really just incredible. You'll see some footage here soon to kind of hopefully do it a little bit of justice. There's cacao trees everywhere. There's a lot of like overgrowth, and nobody was really seriously maintaining this property and kind of farming it for profit or anything like that up until this point, really. We still don't know what we're doing. Betemy is in charge 100% because he's down there and he's running the farm. He employs his brothers and some of the people from the village of Guayabal are down there, up there I should say, and they're working this land. When we went down, there was a lot of like weeding that needed to be done. My dad did manage to get a weed whacker on the plane, and they let that through, so there was some weed whacking done. But in the Dominican, you just use a machete normally, just fucking swinging a sharp sword around, clearing the area. So I didn't do any of that. My brother swung a machete for like 3 hours that day, and they cleared the whole area out. So the first piece of footage that you're going to see, it's going to be when it's kind of wild and overgrown, but they've since cleared it out a little bit. The trees are coming into ripeness, so we're about to be harvesting like a large batch of cacao. The crops come ripe in January and June, I believe. They did manage to get quite a bit of cacao beans fermented in January. We're not really sure what to do with them yet. They do need to be roasted. When the beans are fermented, they have a fermented kind of aroma. It smells a lot like a chocolate stout. Like there's that little bit of like fermented booziness almost, but the chocolate's still there. Before you ferment it, it doesn't really have any chocolatey essence to it. And then when you roast it, it really gets sweet and chocolatey. So at this new La Casa de Chocolate that Betemy is now building right now, there's going to be like a drying platform, some sort of area to dry and ferment the beans out. Gotta be able to roast them over an open fire. And the ultimate goal would be to try to get an oil press up there somehow. I'm not sure how we're going to do that just yet. We don't need a large one. We're probably going to have maybe a ton, like 2,000 pounds of beans per harvest, maybe more, maybe less. So it's not like super huge scale of an operation, but there is still plants to be harvested and something that we can do with that. So once we're able to get the fat out, I mean, eventually down the road, the idea of actually making bars of chocolate's really interesting, but that's down the road. Like that's not going to happen right away. But with my experience with grapeseed oil, there's a way to get the oil out and to do it effectively. I've tried like a boiling method. Didn't really work for me. I don't know. I'm sure I'm not doing it right, but I'm not. Even if we were to boil all of it, that leftover, the cacao nibs, there's nothing. You can't turn that into cocoa powder if it's all wet and soggy. So the idea is to ferment the beans, which dries them out, roast them, that develops the flavor and the aroma, and then put them into a press, squeeze all of that cocoa butter out, and then there's going to be a press cake left over, which you just grind up, and that's cocoa powder. It's exactly how cocoa powder is made. You'll see like Dutch processed cocoa, I believe, where it's alkalized. Most of the time people use chemicals to get the fat out of these natural commodities. I'm sure you all who are watching this know that. You're also makers, most of you. And that's usually how things are done with chemicals. And a lot of the time they're going to chemically process this cocoa for whatever reason that they do that. We're not going to be doing any of that. We don't want to use any chemicals at all. So our ultimate goal with this, number one, first and foremost, is teach some skills and give some jobs to the local people of Yerba Buena and Guayabal in the Dominican Republic. Right now, Betemy is making money off this. He's doing all the work, and everybody that's working for him is also making money off of this. And that's really what we're trying to do with it. There's a guy, and I think it's Trinidad, that my dad had met who makes chocolates. He did promise him a bag of Dominican beans because he can't access them anymore, something like that. It's possible we're able to take maybe a half of our crop, a third of our crop, some amount of crop. If this guy ends up, as soon as we're able to actually physically export the beans to this guy, he might want to buy some to make his Dominican chocolate bars with that, because he has different like single origin chocolate bars that he sells in his shop. He just needs a Dominican one again. So if that guy can make chocolate out of that, cool. That should fund the entire thing if that guy were to buy some beans. And that continues to make sure that Betemy is getting paid and that everybody who's working on the farm is getting paid for their work. My brother and I are not trying to like take money out of their pockets or anything like that at all. We're not doing any of the work. This is just something my dad put in our name. So that's not a concern for either of us. We want the people who are doing the work to get paid and to get paid a fair amount. Fair trade is very important to all of us. Now, once we get an oil press going, we also want to incorporate the children at the deaf school and some of the other people in Guayabal to help. We want to make it into sort of a lesson for the kids at the deaf school. We want to make it available to them to try to, you know, help them with math, with coming up with, say, like a cost analysis of, say you're gonna make this cocoa butter body cream or whatever, this is how you price that out. Boom, a math lesson. We've taught them how to make soap, same thing. Break down the costs, you know, simple, like real life skills is what essentially they're going to be learning. And they can also take part in the process too. Once the beans are roasted, you got to get the skin off of it. It's like a peanut, that husk on a peanut kind of thing. You got to be able to get that off of there. And then you got to crush it up. So this is stuff that the children can do too. And essentially the idea behind that too is they take part in our process, then they receive X amount of either cacao nibs, cocoa butter, whatever it is that we end up with that they would want. Here, you've learned how to do this. This is a skill that you now have forever and nobody can take that away from you no matter what. And now you have a product to do X, Y, and Z with, and you can sell it, you can make some money, and you can fund your school, you can fund whatever it is that you need. There's not a lot of opportunity for a lot of some of these families. The option for them to make money in any way that they can is definitely a good thing. And even if they're just selling it to the Americans that come down for the damn mission trips, like, make that money, take that American money, take that shit, like, good, do it, please. And maybe that's how they make their money, but that's definitely on the table. If there's anything left over after all of this for me to sell in the United States, to bring cocoa butter to the United States to sell, cocoa powder, that sort of thing, if there's anything left over at the end of that, that's the ultimate goal as well, is to try to export it into the United States. And then there, I would be having it available for you guys. There's not going to be a lot. As I said, there's not going to be a whole lot of this left over. It's not going to be a big operation. It's really just my dad. How he says it is just something God told him to do, and he's just following God's lead with it all, which I think is pretty cool. I'm kind of doing the same. I'm just going with the flow at this point, and it's really been pretty cool. So, yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. Obviously, all of you who are watching this, most of you follow me on Instagram, and that's where I post a lot of stuff. And if I do ever have actual cocoa butter available for you guys, that's where you're going to find out about it. And I would post it available. There's not going to be a whole lot. But that would be what happened there. But other than that, it's really just it's something we want to do to enrich the community in the Dominican Republic. Teach people some skills. And I don't mean to say we're going to teach them skills like, ooh, the Americans come in and they know so much more and we're here, let's teach you this and that. We don't know what we're doing either. So we're all kind of learning together, and then everybody has skills and everybody flourishes. That's the idea. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. As far as the footage I'm going to show you, there's going to be a few different walks around the farm itself, kind of weaving in between trees and stuff like that. I'm going to show you all of that. There's going to be a video of the entire walk sort of down the hill. It's about a 25-minute walk up this hill to get to even where the farm begins. And I think I taped it on the way down, just the view on the way down, which I think was really pretty, so that's why I took a video of it. And then I took a video also of the car ride back, just because it's beautiful. I love it there, and I love every aspect of it, so I took a lot of video. of everything that I saw and sort of the journey to get there up to Yerba Buena, which stands for good herb, by the way. Didn't see any good herb growing. Maybe next time. We do have some good cacao growing, that is for sure. Some other clips that I have are just like random clips. I've got a few clips of where we stayed, which was also part of the MGM compound. Up the road from that compound is where Betemy lives, so it was really convenient that he's just right down the road. We spent a lot of time at his house. He so graciously had us over at his house for several days and was feeding us amazing food. Oh my god, the rice and beans. So it was really nice. I know there's some other random clips too that are going to be in there. And that was sort of it. That's our MO with this whole thing. It's been crazy so far, just that even any of this is happening. And I can't believe we've gotten this far already. We're learning a lot. I feel rejuvenated about it all. When my dad bought this property, it didn't, I mean, obviously I was aware that it happened, but it didn't, to go down there and to see it and to be there and to meet Betemy finally and to just see it all happening really solidifies it for me. And that's what the kind of stuff that like breathes life into me and gives me a lot of motivation. So at this point, I'm really heavily motivated to get a press down there, to start extracting the fat from those beans. And then we're going to be able to make a soap recipe up for those kids to make soap with the actual cocoa butter. And that's the goal. We just want them to not only learn some skills, but to have something that's going to generate income to continue to pay for their schooling, because other than that, they're just left on their own all day and they're not going to be receiving any education at all. We want to make sure that the people are learning, we're learning, everybody's learning. They're all getting paid, which is super important. And if one day Mick and I end up getting paid because we have enough where it's like profitable for everybody, cool. If not, also cool. That's not the point, is for us to get rich off of this. It's just a small piece of land. Now in my own head, I'm already going, well, when I have the money, I want to buy a bigger piece of land, etc. But like, I'm not even going to go there yet. There's a lot of stuff in the works coming from me in the future. So, I'll say it again, don't sleep on a bitch. I think most of you know that by now. But yeah. There it is. I'm gonna show you all now the scattered clips that I have taken. It's gonna be a long video, you know, scroll through it if you want to. There's a lot of good stuff in there, but yeah, check it out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support I've gotten from you guys, and enjoy.
And watch like tree stumps and
Rocks and stuff, yeah. I'm wondering if a snake's gonna jump out at me or something else.
There's no real snake issues here.
Okay.
Spiders and bugs would be a So that's our fence line.
Okay.
And that's Henry's place heading that direction.
Got it.
So that's why it would make a lot of sense to have the two side by side.
Yeah. Just open it up.
When you pass the tree, they have bees on it.
Yeah.
And then the honey.
Oh, I've noticed some of those
Well,
brown hive things.
Yeah, there's wasps and hornets and shit. So
They're probably the size of small cats.
Yeah, you can cross that on some of them for sure. I just wanted to show her some of the stuff back here. Like these, now we've got the red pods.
Yeah.
Those are the Criollo, which are the high-end chocolate. So we've got probably, I don't know, 20 to 40% the high-end stuff, and the remainder is the middle-end
The
stuff.
mix. Okay. Look at those beauties.
Yeah, that thing, I'm curious to see how long it'll last.
It's 8:30 exactly.
Yeah, I said that. When the batteries die, then I use the machete.
Right.
And then tomorrow when you have the rest of the guys coming, so we're all gonna use machete.
Mick can swing a machete with the best of them too.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
Oh, you will.
How the Americans swing the machete.
Right, there's nothing to do here. And there's a great example of Criollo.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, probably in the next year, maybe a little longer, but in the next year, these trees will get big enough where there's going to be almost none of this weeding stuff to go on. You know what I mean? Yeah. Unless in the air, except in the areas where there's not a lot of.
I don't think we're gonna have that much mango we want to have, but we have some.
Oh, yeah.
All the things over there is mango.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
the monster
yeah.
mango tree up there. Now, is that the only mango? That's certainly the biggest one, but there's another mango tree around here somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, I remember it's one more somewhere.
Down below, I think.
Yeah. That is the only big one we have.
Yeah.
Because the other one, remember after it's again.
Right.
You have to put it out.
Right. Find somebody too that'll make us furniture.
Our corner is right here. Right?
Yeah.
And you have those guys like that. It's really bad for them.
What's really bad for the cocoa trees?
And the grass is like that.
Oh, and the grass gets too high. Yeah, it chokes them out.
They don't have enough space to do what they want to do. Like in this area where you,
This is where he had all the passion fruit growing,
Yeah.
chinolas growing, right?
yeah, like in this area over here, like you see, like it's kind of empty, like you don't have like kind of anything.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like they plant like more coffee.
Okay. You know where we can get coffee plants, that's for sure.
Yeah. So that's one of my friends. Like a good little coffee tree.
Okay. Ooh, it's so slippery.
So yeah, they had a chinola farm down here before, and that's where these wires are to train the
Oh,
vines up.
okay, yeah. Yeah, because passion fruit is a
Chinolas
vine.
have a rapid turnaround. You can always sell them, but they're kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, vines are tricky. You got to really
Right.
maintain it.
So we go back to just beyond that swatch of sugar cane there. I think. It's really line.
Yeah, in 2 more weeks, so we're gonna have to start all those trees.
Hell of a few, isn't it?
You're damn right.
Yeah, so this lower section, all sorts of room to do whatever. You had a bunch of chicks going into the backyard there for a while. How'd that work?
I bet that's good.
This is where you got to be careful for the wasps' nests.
Yeah. I'm trying not to disturb much of anything.
Good
Help
idea.
it. Sounds like a horse.
It's a jungle.
Yes, it is. something over there. I don't know what. This is the house. Hola.
Say again? Give him a couple more weeks. And then he's gonna go back.
Sunday after church, and somebody will be going through the supermarket and they'll stop in the middle of the aisle, and she'll be behind them. She goes nuts, drives her crazy. She'll be bitching and moaning and complaining up a storm. While she's complaining, she stops in the middle of the aisle and jams
Blocks
everybody
somebody
else
else.
behind her to complain about somebody else that did that exact same thing. Come on, keep moving, keep moving.
How old is your mom right now?
86,
Ooh.
Oh, didn't she just turn 87 though?
maybe.
And I could be wrong too.
Yeah. And I've offered to bring her down here a bunch of different times too. She just is at an age where traveling is not in her wheelhouse any longer.
That's Henry's friend.
Yeah. Did your brother have a scooter?
Oh no.
Too?
There?
Yeah.
He had it, I don't have it right now.
But he does have one, so he'd be able to get back and forth instead. Because putting a house up there, if he's got no transportation, it'd be like stranded him in jail or something. That wouldn't be good.
So, Make-Fi is gonna land in like what time in the afternoon?
2:30, I believe. Let me check that just to make sure.
Hello? Hello? Ajá. Oh, dígame usted, señora. El plan de ellos es, we're going to Catalina's tomorrow afternoon, right?
That's kind of the plan, if that's okay with her.
Yeah. Ellos acaban de llegar hoy. Entonces mañana en la tarde ellos van a ir. O sea, esta noche vamos a ir a tu casa o a la panadería donde tú estés para concluir bien a qué hora en la tarde ellos van a ir para allá. Porque yo le expliqué a ellos que tú le dijiste que tenía que ser en la tarde para tú incluir lo más mayorcito. Porque los niños no se pueden bregar con eso. Y ellos me dijeron que está bien, que tú pones la hora y tú eres la que sabe. Ok, entonces tú lo quieres hacer en la mañana y en la tarde también. So I think he's thinking about like who's gonna do this? Amy's gonna do it or you gonna do it?
For the kids at school,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I thought we'd both do it. Now we can. I'm not sure if we're actually going to be
Because
able
like
to.
she's talking to the kids about, that's why she's like telling me she's in trouble right now because she told the kids it's gonna be in the morning and in the afternoon too, so all day long. Because she know like you guys don't have like money time here, so
Right.
so she want to learn much she can. I don't know if Mick is gonna be like part of these things. I don't know if you and Emma can do it and stuff like that, and me and Mick can do it like the rest of the stuff we have to do.
Yeah, we might do that. And let her know that we've got to figure out. We've got to make sure we can do it.
Uh-huh.
We've tried to do it back home and it didn't work.
We don't even know if we have a thing to show them yet.
Yeah, so we're going to try and get some stuff done today so that we have something for them tomorrow.
Okay. Ellos lo que van a hacer es tratar de bajar la capital hoy, a comprar de que los materiales, a veces ellos hallan los materiales que ellos tienen que hacer estas cosas. Y entonces en la noche nosotros bajamos a la panadería o a tu casa y concluimos todo. ¿Ese no es el número tuyo? Ok. Ok, no hay problema. Yo te llamo entonces. Okay, buen día. So,
And now,
I think I have to call her better in the afternoon tonight when we come back.
what we're going to be able to do.
So we're gonna, when we figure out what we're gonna do, so we're gonna call her and we're gonna meet with her and see how things gonna work.
Okay. Now, Daniela and Maggie both said that they would help
Yeah.
me with the cocoa butter. So,
You and Daniela and Amy can try to do the stuff like that for you and me. Because I don't think I want to do this.
okay.
And I don't think Nick's gonna do it either.
Yeah, I haven't talked. I think he's just going to be whatever we're
Whatever we tell them to do or
So
whatever
I
it
think
is.
we can try to get the more time we can have it done before you guys do it. Because I think you guys just have like 4 days here.
Yeah,
So
not a lot of time.
if you make 2 teams, that's gonna be
That's
excellent.
gonna help.
And if, when we're out shopping today, if we can find some cocoa butter somewhere,
Oh yeah, I think after we
That-
come
just to
back
say
from
this is
Santo
what we'll-
Domingo, we go in the Jumbo.
then we'll
That's
be
one
able
of
to
the
get
big supermarkets we have in the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
So there you can find everything you want, and you can see what they have, what you want, and stuff like that.
So maybe what we can do is go with some store-bought stuff, so we're actually able to make something with it
Oh
tomorrow,
yeah.
and let them know that we'll be using our own stuff next time.
Okay. Yeah.
Think that's doable?
Yeah, we'll get cocoa butter and a couple other things and do a
Okay.
quick kind of like body butter, like hair cream kind of recipe.
What do you think they'd like the most? Hair
For
cream
me,
or
I think like the soap bar is gonna be perfect.
I don't know if we're gonna be able to make soap unless we can find lye.
Yeah.
We'll have to look for lye at the
I don't
store.
know if you can make a lotion with them too
Yeah,
for her and stuff like that.
we can do that easy. That's just melting and mixing.
Because I remember like the soap bar you sent it to my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's like been talking about this thing like for 2 months.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, if we can find
She's
some
like,
lye and some
what
fat,
do
we can
you-
make some soap.
It's how he get the stuff like that. His daughter makes.
I don't know. Right.
Oh, she making money with that in the States. I don't know if she making all, but I know it's good. 2 months later, Daniela cut her bar like in 2 pieces.
Yeah.
Send one to her mom and stay with one. And her mom called her like 4 times.
How do you?
Where do you buy
get
those?
this?
You can buy another one for me? Ah,
I should have brought more.
Oh, I'll bring some down.
Yeah, we'll load you up next time.
That come from state. Ask Betemy. I'm saying, don't put me in that fight.
Right.
You are the one sending peace to her. I got that with my mom, so I'm out.
A friend of mine, I gave one to her. Her husband came home from work and did like a whole, and used half of the whole bar because he works in plumbing, so he's
Yeah.
covered in all sorts of crap. So he used half of it in one shot.
Because I think I'm using the shower with them.
Yeah,
They
well-
keep like your body really clean and really like
Soft.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought she was going to divorce him. You used my soap without asking, and she's trying to get me. Don't get me involved. I got nothing to do with that.
If we can find lye, we can make soap, and we can even cook it, which is the hot process method, which means it won't have to cure for 4 weeks.
Okay.
It'll be completely
Ready to go.
go in like as soon as it firms up.
Okay, cool.
So we'll be on a soap mission.
now,
We need a scale. We need some kind of way to measure, but we'll figure it out when we get to the store.
Okay. And if we can't find lye, would you?
I wouldn't
try the ash.
because we're probably gonna end up with a pile of mush.
Yeah.
Because I literally don't know how to do that.
you buy a pickup truck. The
That-
guy you serve the cocoa.
Oh, I have his name.
I have his last name, but I don't have his real name.
Andre.
Andre, right? entonces a las 12.
Moo. Soy habla moo. Yo habla moo. Hablamos moo? I speak moo. Moo. I love cows. Fun fact about me. Love them. Hungry vacas. Moo. Moo. Oh, there's the cowbirds. See these birds? I haven't seen as many this time. Usually every cow has a bird on its shoulder or something, and that keeps the bugs off of it. That little white bird, and there's one over there too. Those are the cowbirds. Moo. The balls on that thing. Good lord.
That just means if I have a kid, it's gonna have a growing body but not a growing head.
I don't even know what the Zika virus is, but they told you like if your joints start to hurt and you get nauseous and have a fever, you probably got Zika. So let's hope I don't get Zika. Or you either.
I will probably.
Liquid sunshine, Dominican stuff.
That's right. I love the sound of it on the tin roof.
I believe that it's not difficult to speak for you.
Oh no. Smacking some cocoa beans. So we can try to melt the butter out of here. Because, you know, this is very serious equipment. Be careful. Pow! Woo!
Still no car, the garage is locked and stuff. So
Okay, so yeah, they're just not home.
I just asked him if he's home.
It's hard to get a good view through this window. We're in the house upstairs. See that? That's mangoes. I don't know. Oh yeah, there we go. Sorry it's not the best view. There's poles and stuff, but I would have been here in like 3 or 4 weeks. I'd be climbing trees for breakfast. Oh. And then, all right, so here's the upstairs. Do-do-do. Mix room. Oh, there. Lens was kind of dirty bathroom. It's a laundry room. The people who like live here for the mission most of the time, they're in there. So it's locked. I've been sleeping in here, that's all my junk. But there's something hanging right here. I don't know if it's an orange of some kind. There's a lot of citrus fruit that we don't really get in the grocery store in the States. But that's not ripe yet either, man, or I'd be scooping it. And then, oops. I thought these were pomelo. Somebody told me once when I was here before these are pomelo, and you can see like there's little ones. There's another big one somewhere on this tree. I don't think we can see it from this angle so good. All types of fruit that I don't even know what it is, but it looks yummy. downstairs. It's just a cement house. Rebar, blocks, and cement. That's how they do it down here. I mean, this thing's bigger than my house at home, and it's probably like 15 grand worth of supplies. So that's wild.